Hey, what is up, everybody? This is Steve the Breach coming to you here today with a Gemini-style video. This is going to be talking about the self-destruction of Ultimate Warrior. We haven't done a video like this, honestly, in a long time, where we hold up a classic DVD, talk about what's on it, talk about our feelings on it, and I was doing a classic rerun of an old podcast that I used to love to listen to last week, with a lot of podcasts having the week off for the week of 4th of July. I ended up getting back into Wrestle Crap Radio, and the episode that I listened to today was about the time period of the self-destruction of Ultimate Warrior. They talked about the release of his DVD and their thoughts on it at the time. So I said, hey, I haven't watched this, honestly, in years. I haven't looked at it, honestly, in years. Let's pull this off the shelf and really deep dive into really what's going on with this. This is a DVD that came out around 2005. Ultimate Warrior was really on the outs with the people of WWF at the time. WWE was, getting into the sort of documentary-style releases of documentaries on their DVDs. They really kicked that into gear around 2002 when they were going with like Triple H, NWO, and they were rolling them out. I can remember The Undertaker in my yard. They didn't really know, did they want to go 100% exposing the business? Did they want to pull back a little bit and show kayfabe? Did they really want to talk about what goes on behind the scenes? Did they want to talk about Vince being in charge and pulling the strings and all that? They were figuring it out. But this DVD, honestly, was one of the ones that sort of got me in the groove of, and it was probably, honestly, this podcast that let me know that the self-destruction of Ultimate Warrior was out. One of them said that he watched it and said that it was good. The other one said he couldn't get his hands on it because he couldn't find it. That probably drove in my brain a little bit that I got to get my hands on this thing at the time. And this one is wild, and it's crazy, and it was a hard one to get your hands on at the time. In 2005, this is around the time of WrestleMania 21. WWE wasn't really 100% pop culture. The day that a DVD would drop live at like a Best Buy, they might have 2 copies. They weren't definitely bringing in 10. It was definitely, get your hands on it. At that time, it really wasn't 100%. People weren't going to Amazon for 100% of the things they buy in the house. So like a book, a movie, a CD. Most people were going to the mall still, or a store around the mall in order to be able to pick this bad boy up. I remember that I ended up buying the self-destruction of Ultimate Warrior. Really lucky. I used to really love DVDs at the time. I loved DVD collecting, not just wrestling. This is the one that really kicked me off into having a wrestling collection, because around the time of WrestleMania 21, I was just getting back into wrestling. It was going to a GameStop and seeing the WrestleMania 20 DVD there and wanting to pick it up for the greatest hits of WrestleMania's bonus disc, as well as the documentary on WrestleMania 19. And that, once I watched those, I was like, I might as well watch this. I watched the show, didn't think it was that bad, and I tuned in right around the time of WrestleMania 21. So this is me getting back into wrestling, as well as like finding this. I believe I found this, if I'm 100% right, I think I found it at a GameStop at a different one that was actually in the mall, and buying it just because I wanted to see the documentary. I remember a few times I bought some older documentaries at like the Chris Benoit as well as the Eddie Guerrero ones, just because I wanted to see the actual feature, because there wasn't a way to see the feature any other way. I bought it, watched it, and I took it back to the same store and traded it in for more DVDs at the time. Stupid of me that I wouldn't hold on to it, but like I said, this started the run. I believe it was like the self-destruction of Ultimate Warrior, the Rob Van Dam, the Legion of Doom, the Mr. Perfect, and then all of a sudden I was like, I got a lot of wrestling DVDs. I guess I collect these now, and I have the collection that I have now. The self-destruction of Ultimate Warrior was basically breaking down one of your heroes and sort of exposing the behind-the-scenes things that was out there on the internet because a lot of people at this time were watching High Spots as well as RF Video shoot interviews, and people like Bobby Heenan were telling stories about getting hurt by the Ultimate Warrior and how the guy really didn't have a clue what was going on. But this was put out by WWE, a guy that, was with them for a good portion of their career. And you can say what you want to about the Ultimate Warrior. He's not my favorite wrestler, but there are times when I see him in clips and things, or I see his Hasbro figure, that I get good memories. I can honestly tell you that I remember the day I turned on Wrestling Challenge after WrestleMania 6, and I saw Warrior in the opening of the show holding up the title, shooting laser beams out of his eyes. That was how I found out that Hulk Hogan lost. I was mad. I still have emotions towards the Ultimate Warrior that weren't there. But this documentary, honestly, is going to be The Ultimate Warrior, a household name and icon in sports entertainment. A driven guitar beat herald his explosion to the ring with his signature armbands and face paint. His intensity was unparalleled. His controversial personality is equally unmatched. Learn about the man and the myth from the people who witnessed his meteoric rise to the WWE Championship and a victory over Hulk Hogan before 65,000 fans at WrestleMania 6. Hear from the superstars who worked with the man. Did he burn out or drop out? Relive his feuds with the Macho Man Randy Savage, Rick Rude, Hulk Hogan, and more. Exclusive interviews with Vince McMahon and Eric Bischoff break down Ultimate Warrior stints in WWE and WCW. Find out exactly what happened at SummerSlam 1991 when the Ultimate Warrior held up the WWE for money. So they're basically exposing. It'd be like if your boss sat down and did a shoot interview about what he feels about you. I think everybody has pushed their boss a little bit trying to get something, or they basically try to get their worth, whether if it's money, whether if it's time off, whether if it's certain shifts on the schedule. That's basically what this is. I can remember that it has a lot of talking heads on there. Bruce Pritchard, before he was Bruce Pritchard, I guess you can say. Bobby Heenan, the Brooklyn Brawler. Around this time when they were making DVDs like this, they found out that they get royalties for what they were going to be on there. So there's a lot of guys that sat down and it was their job to make these. Found out that they put themselves in them, their royalties go up even more. Christian, Edge, guys that were on the roster at the time, they grew up, liking the Ultimate Warrior, do personality, like sort of promos, I guess you can say, by him. But like I said, the Warrior was never one of my favorite guys. Sitting down, I can say he's the matches that I remember are definitely is the good one against Hogan, the bad one in WCW against Hogan, the two Rick Rude matches, the one at WrestleMania, the one that main evented SummerSlam, the match made in Hell from SummerSlam 1991. I know that he had house show matches against Andre that I've heard about that were really, really short, that Andre was putting him over on his way out. I know that he had angles against The Undertaker as well as Jake the Snake Roberts that, because of the way he was, never ever came out on stage, but they had really good build-ups to matches that never happened. I can remember his squash match when his return came at WrestleMania. I believe that was in Los Angeles, so that would be 12. And other than that, I'm kind of out of matches, so I'm surprised that they've put on here his debut match against Terry Gibbs. The Honky Tonk Man match at SummerSlam 88. Title versus title at 90. SummerSlam 1990 against Rude. The Macho Man match, his retirement match. That is a very memorable match. Probably one of his best matches right there. On the bonus disc, if you run out and buy this at most stores, it's just going to be the single disc. Bonus disc, I think, was exclusive to, I want to say, Circuit City. I'm not 100% sure. But you got a match against Hercules from the Madison Square Garden in 88. Sergeant Slaughter on Saturday night's main event against 1991. Of course, he lost the championship at the Rumble 90. I got a good story about that one as well. And then you've got the Randy Macho Man SummerSlam 1992 match, which is very unforgettable. I have no memories of that match, and I've even watched that match since I've got back into wrestling twice. Still don't really remember anything about it. Ultimate Warrior was a controversial guy. Because of this DVD, this came out around the time of WrestleMania 21. WrestleMania 26, you can remember Ted DiBiase as your main eventer going into the Hall of Fame. It's because they wanted Warrior. Warrior still had bad feelings against the WWE that only grew because of this. And he talks about it a lot in both of his shoot interviews that he did, one with the toy company, one that he did on his own, which I believe might be able to still find on YouTube, but I'm not 100% sure. But, yeah, he did not like this at all. And the fact that WWE thought that they were going to waive a payday in his face to come back at WrestleMania 26 until they just kept thinking that he was going to do it. Why they didn't go out and get somebody. I love Ted DiBiase, a stronger name to main event. They were coming off of WrestleMania 25, which had a real star-studded one. They'll never be able to top WrestleMania 21, which was Hulk and Piper. But they were trying to make the Hall of Fame into something. And of course, 27 they get Shawn, 28 they get Edge. They started getting lucky after that, but 26, really bad class. They didn't get Warrior until 30, and that was a lot due to Triple H coming back. Once he came back, there's two more ones that you can pick up. We've already talked about these. This one came out before his death, before his Hall of Fame induction. The Ultimate Warrior, the Ultimate Collection of Matches, just a ton of matches. And then we've got Always Believe, which is a supercut of his WrestleMania 30 documentary about coming back to the company, what his thoughts were until the time he signed the contract. It shows him, showing up to New Orleans and all of the emotions till he left and had the heart attack back in Phoenix. But Ultimate Warrior, not one of my favorite guys. I am going to sit down now. I am going to watch the documentary, so I should have a review up on this sooner than later. But a very weird, very, very weird release. A lot of people thought maybe the Lex Luger WWE Network documentary that was supposed to come out, I believe, 3 years ago on the 4th of July, which was re-edited into the A&E documentary, was supposed to be a little bit in the likes of this. They did touch, of course, on the Lex and Miss Elizabeth tragedy at the end of Miss Elizabeth's career, not like they did with the WWE Confidential TV show, which was just a huge burial at the time of Lex Luger. But we'll have to see. I'm lucky enough to have the 2-disc set in my collection. Like I said, that's the one you're looking for. I believe it was a Circuit City release. Nothing really major on here, honestly, guys. Just a few interviews and a few matches. But everybody wants it. Peace out.